Hey everybody, welcome back. Movie review time, where we geek out about a movie we just saw, and we just saw Bill and Ted Face the Music, dudes. Alright, so this is going to be our spoilers video. Keep that in mind. And we're going to spoil the movie. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We jump all over the place. We may start right at the very end. So if you want a no spoiler review, we have the link in the description below, or something's popping up right about now. You can click on that. Check it out. Come on back. Watch this. And then we'll geek out over it together in the future, dudes. And we're in San Dimas, and it's all geek out worthy because it's fucking geek out worthy. And I swore in the first 30 seconds. God fuck. Okay, so here comes your warning. Remember, spoilers. People click on these things sometimes, or autoplay happens, and they're like, "Why did you spoil the movie?" And I'm like, "We told you it's spoilers. It says it in the title and everything." So here you go.
You've had ample opportunity to stop at this point.
Right. Spoilers.
Spoilers, dude.
Spoilers, dude. Whoa. Alright, you gone? Okay, so here we go. When death gets the vasectomy. No, that wasn't. That was a bad joke. So, okay, so here we go.
So when the very end, when they're abducted and taken in by the aliens,
And they become station, and then travel back in time to be stationed?
I mean, I'm still not sure how I feel about that.
Okay, so for real, obviously, really spoilers. Those aren't spoilers, but if you're still here, fuck off!
Actually, what the fuck happened to the station?
Well, they did... Okay, here
you go. There was a reference.
Spoilers. There was a beautiful reference to station.
It was a reference, but there's no explanation as to what the fuck happened to them.
Now, I will admit...
Or the robot-usses.
They're living in... Well, I don't know about the robot-usses. They probably just rusted down. But okay, fine. If you want to start nitpicking this glorious experience...
Oh, have you not met me?
I know, I have, and I love you. Except when we do spoiler reviews. Oh! So robot-usses, I don't know. But stations, they're just living a happy life in heaven. They've saved the world a couple of times. They're good. But I did love that Kid Cudi's like... I love... Cudi. I love that gag of like, oh, he's just some rapper dude. He's like, but is it the time paradox of the blah, 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 blah? And then they pay all that off. Not only was that fun as a joke in itself, they pay it all off with like, when he's leaving, it's like, oh, whoa, I don't know what's going on, but I like it. Hey, catch you later, Bill and Ted. Stations! I was like, oh! How many times?
Station.
Well, okay,
Singular,
station.
not plural.
How many times did I fucking like fist pump in this and just like, yeah! Because, oh, wow.
Yeah. I still would have liked to know what happened to him.
Fair enough, fair enough. But okay, let me ask you, as a film guy, but was that really important to the story they're telling?
Important, but I still would like to know.
And I'm not picking on you specifically, but I'm going to use...
Yes, I know, I am that person.
Well, I was going to say, I'm going to use you as this kind of example here that doesn't... And I'm not, again, not to you specifically.
But yes,
that doesn't fucking matter. It's the story they're trying to tell. Yeah. It wasn't important to the story they're trying to tell.
I know.
And you want to trim the fat. If it's not important to the story they're trying to tell, then it just becomes fan service. And what do people typically do about fan service? They moan and whine and bitch and complain.
I like fan service.
I like a certain degree of it, but it's best when it's in service to the story being told.
I understand.
And this is a beautiful story being told about growing up, growing older, coming to terms with your destiny, coming to terms with maybe your life didn't turn out like you thought it would when you were younger, but how it can still have major impact.
Yeah.
This might be, you're going to like this. This might be a reason it impacted me harder than I thought it was. Because going in, you knew from the trailers and stuff, it's going to have some of that fatherhood thing. Like, it's going to play on that, oh, well, it's not so much about me, it's about my child kind of thing. Which they did beautifully. And I might have just recently become a bit more of an actual daddy than I thought.
I'm not pregnant.
Yeah, let me be clear. This is not a pregnancy announcement. I may have just kind of, now that the cats live here, and Mary has been busy, so she hasn't been around as much, I kind of had to, I love our babies. So maybe hit me a little more than it would. But I mean, so anyways, the point being, that's the kind of story they're telling. And like, even the way, and again, spoilers, even the way because I thought if that was the only focus, that could be really good. But the fact they also played on the relationship with the princesses.
Yeah.
Like, that was beautiful. And the way the princesses went off on their own story with the ab-fab future versions of them I would have liked to have seen that as its own movie or a side quest. But again, in service to this story, I didn't need to see it. But just as a fan, I was like, I really like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide how I feel about that part as well. But again, there's a lot of this movie where I'm just going to have to sit and kind of think about it.
You want to go watch it again? Hold on, we're going to pause the review. No.
I need to watch it by myself, maybe.
Because if you didn't see our no spoiler... Oh, by the way, that's something I forgot to say. Even if you're looking for spoilers, you should watch our no spoiler. Because there's a lot of stuff we won't talk about here, and you'll be like, why didn't you say that or whatnot? It's in the no spoiler. Like that's our more general thoughts and attitudes. So you'll understand why I had a Star Wars experience, and she enjoyed it, but might have been off-put by how much the vibe and energy I was putting out and enjoying it.
Yeah, just long story short, he was super into it, like, right off the bat, and I wasn't, and that kind of was like, well, what's wrong with me?
See, and that's weird. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I did anything to make you feel that way. I know I didn't specifically do anything to make you feel that way. But
you enjoyed the movie the way you enjoyed your movie.
Right, but that makes me feel kind of bad.
But sometimes when you're next to somebody and the vibe is not the same as yours, it does affect things.
I can totally get it. I've probably been to concerts or something where I'm like, yeah, this is good, but damn, it ain't that good. Not you, but like just in general, like, fuck, they're enjoying it too much. I get where you're coming from, but I do feel kind of bad. I caused that for you, but then again, maybe you should have let me make you margaritas.
Again, if I drank it, I'd be asleep.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm still kind of wiped out from this last week.
It's been exhausting for her, but guess what? We live together now. It's great. We live together in this giant car because we're right outside the theater. We are technically outside the theater. But there's plenty more to talk about. Sorry. It's been a minute. We haven't done one of these movie reviews in a while, so it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. I still kind of wish they'd gone with Beethoven over Mozart.
But if I'm not mistaken, Beethoven was in the first, right? That was Beethoven.
Yeah, for two reasons.
Okay.
One, Beethoven's my favorite of the classicals.
You're going to be Beethoven? Then I'll be Bach.
The second, I could almost see a situation where they could have done the same thing that they did, but just slightly differently in terms of Hendrix goes, y'all some crazy white bitches.
Okay.
And then they have to go, it's like, well, let's go get one of his inspirations. And they get Louis Armstrong, and who I think was still technically alive in Hendrix's time, so I could see why Hendrix is going like...
They did make the reference of, I should have gotten the older. Yeah. But you're going to Beethoven Mozart.
As I say again, and I don't know how well this would may have generated its own actually moment, but have Armstrong be like, there's two white girls here, and this is really awkward and kind of bad.
See, I knew you so well that I knew even that moment. There was a part of my brain that's like, I bet you Mary is worried about the social construct of this and the time it existed instead of just going on this ride.
But you're going like, I'm sure you're nice, fine white women, but I need
But
you
maybe
to not
he
be
could
here.
just see in the whole. Maybe he could just see. It's like, hey, they're digging on what I'm doing. That's why he turned and kind of sang to him. It's like, they're fans. They get it. White people dug Louis Armstrong when he happened.
I know. But I can see, like, well, what if, Beethoven was one of his influences, and they get Beethoven. Beethoven's like, oh, I knew your dad.
Okay, now this is where I thought you were going, and I will agree with you. That is possibly a missed opportunity for something very cool. However, there might actually be some kind of like historical...
Of course, obviously it would have to be a different actor at this point.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there might be some historical thing. I don't know the history of what musician loved who and what was huge. So maybe Louis Armstrong, maybe there's some, you can tell us in the comments, maybe there was some like legit significance of like he mentioned him in an interview or something that's famous. So maybe there's a reason they specifically chose Mozart. But I will give you that is a thought that crossed my mind in the moment.
They get Beethoven, they bring Beethoven back to Armstrong. Armstrong's like, okay, let's give this a shot, and then
right, or even if it's like you just see like, because that's the one thing we didn't get that I'm surprised. We never got like a recreated, even if it's stunt doubles from a distance or digital de-aged or whatever. We never got a young Bill and Ted moment, which I thought maybe we would get, and we didn't. It's fine. I'm not sad we didn't, but that could have been kind of neat if they had like shown. Like something we never saw from the original movie of Bill and Ted taking them back. Like that is a missed opportunity. Taking them back after the first movie.
Yeah. Right.
And then like they disappear and immediately reappear as old Bill and Ted. And Beethoven's like, the fuck? You know. Or well, I guess it would have been the daughters. But like, still, there is that did cross my mind. It's a missed opportunity. But I don't fault movies for missed opportunities because what they did do worked. And I'm happy. And again, I'm not coming down on you. I'm like, people, know what movies, stop. Stop being like, it wasn't the movie I thought it was, so it sucked, it's trash, it's garbage.
Okay, I'm not saying it's bad.
You want to see garbage, go watch The Amazing Bulk. Fuck.
No, but again, I'm sitting here going like,
sorry,
the Chinese lady is just like, well, she went real easy.
I will give you that, but they had built up a momentum to that.
What I really didn't understand is like, how do you even know about this woman from 11,000 years?
The drummer.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, come on.
BC. I'm like. Because I didn't quite catch the line of how they even knew about this lady.
That may also be the thing, because I didn't catch the line either. But because we didn't, we can't fault the movie because we didn't catch something.
Unless they basically it was Death telling them. If Death was a person that they had heard this from.
Death was after, so I don't think.
No. They said they heard about this lady from somebody.
And you're right. They would have known Death. They would have grown up with a young. Yeah.
I'm actually really surprised they didn't call him Uncle Death.
Oh, that would have been cute.
Cute.
But back to my point.
Okay.
And we both missed that line, so we don't know. But maybe they did. So we can't really fault the movie for that.
But it's just like...
You know, I'm just saying.
Yeah. But like I said, it's like there were several points where I kind of want to rewind because the girls were a little hard to understand sometimes.
I didn't really have that problem, but... because again, I'm just going with the flow of it. I'm enjoying what I'm getting. What I did need to know and understand. What I did need explained to me I thought was well explained to me. We haven't even really, but speaking of, we haven't really touched on like the big caveat of the film, which is why the song and the end of Bogus Journey didn't actually save the world. And this is one of the things I think is brilliant about what they did in the screenplay. And again, why I want to go back and rewatch the first two again now, even though we just did, about what is the verbiage of people talking about how they saved the world and their song changed everything. Like what is actually specifically said each time in the original movies? And is this one of those where this new movie found a brilliant loophole and worked it? Or is this one of those where this new movie is like, here's the thing we can kind of fudge and kind of work into existence. You know what I mean? But either way, I think it's pretty freaking brilliant that they're like, no, it's like about uniting reality. And, it's not that one song and that, that changed the whole world. Because honestly, that's more of an idealistic teenage thought that you can write one song and it changes the world. And sadly, since the 60s to now, we people have learned that music is very important. Music can affect things, but there's not one song that's going to change the entire world. So I like that they played this into realities, like it's more of a sci-fi concept that realities are all collapsing on each other. And maybe some people out there, I didn't need it, but maybe some people out there needed more of an explanation of, well, why are realities collapsing? Why is all this going on? Why is it such a big deal? But I'm like, no. For me, this is happening. And the fun is the story of how we're trying to save it, and that what we thought was going to save it in the past, we misunderstood, and it's actually something much bigger, much more interesting. Because as you grow up, it's real evocative of how you come to understand the world. That when you're younger and more idealistic, you're like, yeah, man, like we could just write a song and everyone's going to be like, oh, cool, and we're going to all come together. But as you grow up, you learn there's all these subtleties, there's all these layers, and nothing is that easy. Much like when you start melding realities and time concepts, it's like, oh, wow, this is a lot more complicated.
Because it seems like if you look at the news articles at the end of Bogus Journey,
Right. Which they did reference with playing in the Grand Canyon.
It looks like they basically went up to where there was a rumor that the band was going to split, and but then they got rumors were false or whatever. But it seems like that's where it kind of diverges, is sort of at that point, because Death split because he kind of tried to take over the band.
Well, you don't like 40-minute bass solos?
Have you been to no?
Hey, Cliff Burton. That's all you need to say.
I said, but I think if you were in the right mood, a 40-minute bass solo can do it for you.
Again, I'll reiterate, Cliff Burton.
Don't know who that is, but
the original bassist from Metallica was just magic. Anyways,
but it's like I don't think they went to space, which is how the things end. I'm
going to kind of refute these as you go.
Okay.
I don't know that they didn't not say they went to space. They just kind of never really addressed any of that in this movie. And bands can break up, get together, break up, get together, break up, get together. Okay.
The other thing is, didn't Missy actually marry Dynamos?
God, we haven't even talked about that.
Because they left him out of that wedding.
I would have loved there is a lacking reference to Dynamos.
Dynamos?
Ed Solomon backwards. He's one of the writers producers. It's his name backwards.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Solomon. So because D-E for Ed.
Okay.
Solomon. Nomalos.
Nomalos.
Anyways, sorry. Which we think were two demons in hell. That has to
writers?
be them. You caught it, because they were the Ziggy Piggy ice cream dudes in the first one.
And then they were the New Age dudes.
Yeah, they were the New Age not Hocus Pocus.
New Age dudes.
Yeah, New Age, but Seance.
Seance.
That's the word I was looking for. Okay, but anyways, I'm sorry. Our articles, did you have any more about like the newspaper articles and stuff you wanted to...
like I said, I think that's kind of sort of where, towards the very end, is basically where it diverged.
But see, that's what I'm saying, is I argue that I think they talked about it enough to reference that was real. I think they glossed over some things that left it to where it could have happened. Because again, bands do break up, reform, break up, reform, break up. So I think all that could have still happened.
Yeah.
I don't think they broke continuity with that. I mean, at least on my first viewing,
Yeah. Is it just me, or did Missy look older than the boys? Like more than like the 3-year difference then?
Well, yeah, but I mean, some people age differently.
I know,
you know what I mean?
But that was definitely her, though.
Oh, that was absolutely the original Missy. I thought it was the original Ted's younger brother initially, until you started freaking out about where do I know him from, and then eventually I'm like, oh, I know him too. I don't know what from, but
he's SNL. He does like Putin and Pence and
and he was good, and his little bits was very, very good.
Yeah.
I love The Daughters. I'll watch a spinoff. I know there's a lot of angry dude bros out there that are like, oh, you gotta make it all girl power, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, they felt right to me. They felt like what Bill and Ted would have raised.
Well, yeah, because they're actually, it wasn't really feminist at all. They're just like, hey, we're people, we're doing things.
Exactly. Exactly. But you know,
it's like, and their thing is they're listening to music and have absolutely no fashion sense.
I kind of dig their fashion.
I do not.
But that's also part of, and I like what their fashion was. It was like all eras mixed together.
To me, it's they walked into a closet with no lights on, and I think this is a shirt.
I mean, that's rock and roll to me, baby. I mean, you look at how like these old like 70s, 80s bands, when they came out dressing like they did back in that era, when people are like, the fuck? Is that man wearing a scarf? You know, I mean, like I get it.
Well, the thing is those still kind of sort of tied together usually.
I don't know. I'm thinking of some like Steven Tyler shit,
I'm thinking
man.
about like the second time Bill and Ted go into the future, and they're pretending to be British and...
Oh God, we haven't even gotten into this. We're going to get into this in a minute, because there's some great stuff in that, but we're about to a break. But I just wanted to finish up on The Daughters. I loved them. Thought they were great. I would watch a spin-off of theirs. I loved their adventure. I loved their dialogue. I loved how they interacted with each other, how they interacted with their dads. I was enamored with their just love of music and like their love of history of music, their appreciation of art. That connects with me on a profound level, especially because as I've been doing this YouTube thing, and again, I don't care if you love or hate what I do, but it has been eye-opening to see, just sadly, how many people are being now raised, because the arts and education, especially the art programs, just aren't what they were, and they weren't great when I was growing up. But like, people don't understand the importance of art, or what art is, or why art can move you, or even how something, if it's totally corporate backed and corporate controlled, can still have a lot of artists creating actual art on all these levels, you know? So, like, quick, like when people complain about, he starts crying in Star Wars immediately, it's like, yeah, because I'm noticing the cinematography, I'm noticing the choice of film grain, the contrast, the black and white levels, you know, the color saturation, like, I'm in there deep, you know what I'm saying? and I don't expect everybody to appreciate art on that level, but that there's such a lack of understanding of like art and its importance and what it actually is. But sorry, okay.
What was it?
Oh, fuck. I thought you still had it. I thought I shut up in time.
I know, actually I do know.
Okay.
I just like to fuck with you sometimes.
You hear that, right?
Yeah.
You hear that, troll? She likes to fuck me sometimes.
Not that too. Anywho, but like I said, it was kind of interesting because, you know, the first Bill and Ted movie was the fact that it was Bill and Ted were basically completely outside their wheelhouse trying to do something. It's just like, and the thing is, now actually that's being generous, because quite frankly, they didn't seem to know anything. They didn't know how to play.
They knew Joan of Arc was Noah's wife, dude.
Which is incorrect.
Yeah, that was the joke. Sorry.
But the thing is, they were very, they weren't quite too stupid to live, but they were close.
Okay.
But the girls, you know, they definitely know their music. But if you give them a task that has really nothing to do with that, how do they do?
Okay, well that's fair.
Then that could be an interesting thing to look at in something with them.
And I'm sorry, the camera's going to cut off, is why I'm trying to rush. But that's fair to a point. The only argument I have against that is, again, that's one of those, I don't know that mattered to this story.
But you're talking about doing other things.
Right.
And that's what I'm speaking to.
That's why I'm not arguing against what you're saying. I'm just also bringing up that other thing. Because you're right, because we don't know. Well, I was gonna throw to break, but then just one other thing I'll throw, because you were talking about guitar, Bill and history. I don't know how we got there, but when they showed the guitar cases in the future and all the guitars came up, I do love that you see the original like guitars with no heads that Rufus gave them. That's some of the collectible guitars. All right, the camera's going to cut off, and we've been like 20 minutes, so we're going to take a quick break. We got more to talk about. We'll be right back, dudes.
And we're back, dudes.
I can totally see it on your shirt, dude. No, I can't.
No,
okay.
you can't.
I know, I wish. Okay, so we talked about everything. This is the end of the review. We'll see you all later. No. There's still so much. Okay, alternate reality Bill and Ted's. Let's go there.
Well, are they actually alternate?
Well, okay, I'm sorry. No, you're right.
Because they seem to be staying within their own timeline.
Well, that makes them alternate realities, unless we're saying the end of this movie actually failed because they rewrote those histories, because now those guys don't exist. They did get Missy and Joanne back.
They were trying to change it so that they were not experiencing their current future, their current present.
Right, which is interesting because the future thems weren't trying to...
But at the same time, they wanted to make sure Bill and Ted didn't get killed, because they knew that means they would stop existing.
Which reminds me of, like, the thing I died most at, I think, is when they went to the fake, famous, rich, British Bill and Ted, and, like, they finally revealed they're bad guys, and they're holding a gun on them, and, like, the fake Bill and Ted, they're like, you know what happens when we don't hold the gun on them, dude? It's like, what? And they don't hold the gun on them, and they run away, and they're like, that, I don't know why, just the way that played out.
Well, actually, no, it's like Bill... good Bill.
Let's say British Ted, British Bill, and then if that helps.
Okay. Well, not British.
Johnny
Bill.
Depp Ted. Sorry.
No.
I'll stop.
But Bill goes like, dude, you don't have to hold a gun. It's like, you know what happens when I don't have a gun on you? It's just like, and he puts the gun down, and they start to try to leave. And he's like, and then you hear click. He's like, I see what you mean.
I mean, that was just one of those brilliant jokes to me. But yeah, the fact they go like 2 years in the future and like drunken Ted and just they're angry and they're running away. Which, by the way, they don't answer that question that I thought would be answered, because I love that they set up. They did something I wish movies don't need to do this. They shouldn't need to do this. But I appreciate that they did this in this movie with Rufus and the watch and the sometimes stories don't make sense until the end line. I'm like, thank you. Because so many people watch movies, or you'll see them tweet about movies like, what? This doesn't make sense. I'm like, watch the movie. Yeah. Let the story unfold. It will make sense in the end, usually. But I love that. But we get to the 2 years later, Bill and Ted, and like the open mic night. And they did mention, it's like, oh, it's past us again. And they run away from them. I expected maybe we would come back to that. You know, that past us goes back to them again a couple of times or something. Yeah. So I am kind of surprised we didn't do that. Unless you're setting up Bill and Ted 4, 5, 6, and 7. I
feel like maybe there's a cutscene.
Possibly, which we don't have on the Vudu. I'm sad. The Vudu doesn't have cutscenes. It doesn't have a gag reel. It doesn't have a commentary. It has Death Does MTV Cribs, but that's the only one we watched, and it was kind of disappointing because there was like 30 seconds of him doing Cribs. I was like, no, you could have done a whole thing. He never even said the line, "This is where the magic happens." Because that's like a thing on Cribs every time they show the bedroom.
I never watched Cribs.
I watched more Cribs than I needed to, which is why I love like house design and why we, probably partially why we ended up in a place like this. By the way, this is where some of the magic happens. Welcome to my crib. Okay, future Bill and Ted's. But yeah, that was fun. And then like they start beating each other up.
Yeah, and then the second time they jump is when they hit the fake British versions of themselves.
With such an amazing cameo.
Yeah, the girl.
Yes, and again, they kept so many secrets about this movie. If nothing else, you have to appreciate that. The only alternate Bill and Ted we knew were the prison Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And there's like, what, 3, 4 other Bill and Teds in this?
Yeah.
And that was so great. That was so great. And each one of them is just awesome. And I love it. Especially when like British Johnny Depp Bill, like they thought they got away with it and they're like pulling off their wigs and shit. And even like just the little touches. Like you see all the gold records on the wall. One of which looked like the Clash's London Calling, I noticed. But then when they give Bill and Ted the song, they're like, here's a CDR on like a slim case, you know, with like a clearly hand-printed cover, and I'm like, wait a minute, these guys can afford actual. Okay, that's a music nerd thing, but I'm like, these guys can afford actual duplication, not replication, not duplication.
I had a feeling that it was definitely a bait and switch sort of situation, but.
But that was fun, and then Dave Grohl.
And then the third jump was
Prison. Prison was pretty fun. There's not a lot more to Prison than what we expected or what we saw in the trailers.
Yeah,
which is fine. But then Old Man Bill and Ted.
Yeah,
which is also the post-credit scene. Charming and heartwarming and hilarious. It's probably my second biggest laugh is when Ted has the conversation with the elderly version of himself. He's like, my biggest fault in life, dude, is not getting to know you well enough. He's like, you're right, dude. I'm sorry. I spent too much time acting like myself. Like
it's just like I never really opened up to myself.
Right. It's like, hold on, my brain is exploding. What's happening? But
it's
like
the way weird therapy session.
But the way they like totally connected and understood it, I'm like, okay. I fucking loved that. And then them shredding at the end. The post-credit scene, since we're on the alternate Bill and Ted's, the only thing, and this is where I just as a fan, I could have used one thing they didn't do, is I thought maybe this would be them one more time, like into a cell phone or something, recreating that initial introduction where they're like, they show, it's like, Ted films Bill shredding. It's like, I'm Bill S. Preston, Esquire. Oh, wait, hold on, dude. And I'm Ted Theodore Logan. You know, like that's a slight missed opportunity. But, I mean, still, it was super cute that they actually shredded. And that fucking Ted's guitar strap had all the smiley faces on it, like on the back of his jacket in Bogus Journey. That was dope.
It's actually the same guitars from When They Save the World.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. The smiley face strap was from when they do the big song at the end. You're right. No, the old man strap was the strap I showed you that I have on my SG bass.
No, it was the same strap in both of those things. Yes.
Well, anyways, I have one of the straps.
You're thinking of when the first time they go back and it's the drunken, angry Ted.
You're right. That angry Ted, I have that same guitar strap. I have it on an SG bass, a Gibson SG bass. That matches my Gibson 50th anniversary, 100th anniversary, 75th anniversary SG, wood and red and fucking gorgeous. And I was like, I should go grab it, but the bass is down the hall, but the guitar's at Dad's. Sorry, I'm a guitar nerd.
So,
and I did have a moment because, as you know, this is where you've been busy the last few days. A couple days ago, I finally set up some guitars in my bedroom, and I was having, and you noticed. And I was having fun when we watched the movie. There was a moment I glanced over and saw some of my absolute favorite guitars I own, and I'm like, I'll save the music too. No, I won't. All right. But yeah, so alternate Bill and Ted. You got anything else on them? I think they were great. I loved it, man.
Not really, actually. I think I've said everything I can on them. Should we talk about Dennis?
Okay, now you know I kept telling you, it's like, Mary, I'm starting to get spoilers online. So I didn't have anything major spoiled, but I was starting to get hints of things I didn't want to know, and this is one of those things that affects me. When Dennis showed up, I was like, I bet that's Dennis, and I bet I'm going to love him, even though you wouldn't know that initially.
Okay.
And that's because I saw Alex Winter post something about, yes, we need a Dennis and Death spin-off road movie. So I was like, oh, apparently whoever Dennis is, I'm going to love that character. And I did. What you got on Dennis? Dennis was fucking cool.
Again, Dennis was one of those characters with all the makeup and thing going, I know that actor. Who's that actor? At first I thought it was what's his name? Ezra...
Oh, Miller, because you thought he was the Flash.
I thought he might be the Flash. Well, I mean, you could kind of see it.
He reminded me of, I think it's John, and I can't think of his last name at the moment. If y'all watch Funhouse on YouTube, you know, like Alana, James Willems, Elise, Funhouse. And John's on, I know you don't, but he reminded me a lot of John from Funhouse. If you know Funhouse, you know what I'm talking about.
But it turns out I can't remember the actor's name now, but I did look it up on IMDb, and it's the same guy who plays Victor Zsasz on Gotham, who I absolutely adored that character.
Yeah, and my face was, I don't know, I didn't watch Gotham.
And we need to watch Barry at some point because he's got a fantastic role in that.
I do want to watch Barry. I've seen like 5 minutes of that. I'm like, I need to watch this whole series. Yeah, that was cool.
But, yeah, because you don't expect the basically what's supposed to be a very fancy looking Terminator robot from the future to be quite so neurotic.
Yeah, but I think that's what made it adorable. And he was so well played, and that he wanted everybody's love and attention. And he was so like sorry that he killed all the wrong people. That was pretty great. Okay,
you named it after my ex-boyfriend, Mom?
Which is a great segue into where I was going. I'm going to try and start speeding up because we are getting a little long here.
Okay.
George Carlin's daughter in this. Can't think of the character name, but she's great. You know, Louise
Kelly,
Belcher.
I think.
But yeah, she is great. And I love that they had the daughter because I remember it. I was like, as soon as it's like, it's his daughter, I was like, oh, that's who he had. He, in the first movie at the end, had them. Like, my daughter's a big fan. Will you sign this for her? I was like, oh, and then they played on the daughter. And then the new great leader turns out to be Rufus's wife. Like, she was the mom. I'm like, that's brilliant.
Oh, that's why I forgot. I meant to look her up too because I was sitting here going, she looks familiar.
Oh, she's like really famous, and now I'm blanking on it.
And I know it's not her.
Annette Bening? I don't have any of my phones.
I know it's not her, but she, with that headdress and everything, I was getting very strong Game of Thrones vibes with...
No! Not... The enemy of Circe, the mom of Natalie Dormer.
Yeah, one played... I think she played Emma Peel in The Avengers?
Maybe. In the, like, TV show?
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Diana...
I don't think it's going to come to me. Holographic Rufus.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Yes,
and you can
absolutely.
See where I can draw the...
I'm 100% with you on that. Hologram Rufus, that was a great tribute to Rufus to use original footage as a hologram, but then kind of do off-screen, just kind of trailing off dialogue about, but I'm a hologram of when I first met them. Beautiful and brilliant, and that was the original time machine. Although in hindsight, I don't know if they fixed it in Bogus Journey. No, Bogus Journey, it looked different. So it's interesting they didn't have like the bubble gum. If that was supposed to be the original time machine.
Oh, they may have fixed that.
Yeah, but I mean, if like they saved that as a museum piece and then used a new phone booth time machine in the sequel, and again, I'm being super nitpicky now. I'm learning. So there's that. But that was a great little moment with Rufus.
I thought it was interesting that they ditched the whole phone box idea and just went, it's an egg now.
Well, no, because originally it was something else.
It basically did the Doctor Who chameleon circuit thing.
Yeah.
Because originally it's like this weird gold column, sort of.
Yeah. But again, you would think the future just like now.
But again,
they appled it.
They didn't bother chameleoning it. It's like, it's a giant floating egg.
They didn't have time. They didn't have time to chameleon. I love how cool like B and T though the daughters were with it. Like, oh, our dads are in trouble. Is that a time tip? Hey, can we borrow your time machine?
The thing is, you have to understand, they grew up on these stories, and so this is their normal to a certain degree.
That's what made it so much fun. And then the dad, Ted's dad being back.
I'm really surprised they didn't call Death Uncle Death.
I'm with you. You're right. That's a good miss. Ted's dad is awesome in this. Him coming to that realization of, oh, well, I guess since this is all real, all that other stuff was real.
It only took getting him killed.
I know, right? But I thought all that was great. But my God, the wedding cheers to him when they're explaining Missy's past. And he's like, so that makes my dad his own son. I mean, I was just like, that was so awesome. That was so awesome. And it was a little bit shocking when they actually kills the dad, too. I was like, we were both like, whoa. I mean, we know where it's going, but I mean, you just, in the moment, you just feel it. It's so fun.
And the thing is, it made it actually feel kind of high stakes when they did that.
It did. Even though you kind of know, it's like, they've been to hell and back, it's fine, but it still felt right.
Yeah.
Although, another missed opportunity that we mentioned is I would have liked to have seen, even if like they just do it for like just a split second one-line joke, like to see the whole group when the daughters and everybody get sent to hell, to just see them fall down like the massive pit. It might have been kind of neat just to like see that whole group falling through blackness and be like,
it would be Kid
well, this is something.
doing some sort of
explanation. It's like, oh well, obviously we're traveling through the quantum realm on a vastly blah 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 blah.
Or it's just like, or doing some existential crisis. I don't know.
Yeah, no. So again, super nitpicky. These do not ruin the movie for me at all. Just throwing out some things like, okay, maybe that could have been something cool to do. But like I said, I love what they did with this movie. At least on first viewing, right out the gate, and again, being super hyped and still having it blow my mind. But that's so good. What else? I like the idea they had to unite everybody to play music. We all had to play the same song to get everything going again.
I had some
here we go.
with this.
Zoom in.
Okay, I was good with the band and everything, but when they start going like, well, we need to give instruments to everybody, and I'm like,
and you got Flash Ted.
I'm sitting here going like, well, first of all, there's a shit ton of people there who have no idea how to play any instrument.
Dude, anybody can bang sticks together and get the idea. We did it all in kindergarten. We don't know. We don't know who they gave what to.
But the other thing is, that means like, you would have to basically have to do what they were doing. Theoretically, you would have to have like, throughout your entire lifetime, an instrument in your hand. Because it's supposed to be all places, all times.
Whoa, you're taking this way too literally. I felt like this song had to be played in all places at all times for one moment. It didn't mean like Jesus had to bang that cowbell his entire existence.
I know, but that kind of...
Wow. That blew my fucking mind that they would go there and do that, and I loved it. That was so cool. That was the best of those flashbacks of everybody playing. Washington, all that other stuff, that was good. But fucking Jesus just showing up, just banging the shit out of that cowbell back at the Last Supper. That was awesome. But yeah, I think you are now trying to read. Yeah, you're trying to read too much into what this movie is trying to be. And I hope people remember that. Like, let movies be what they're trying to be. Judge them for that. Not what you want them to be. Not what you expect them to be. Not what it's like, oh, every movie should be Citizen fucking Kane. No, sometimes movies are just Sharknado 3.
Actual lyrics to that song were there. I mean, there was vocals, but it was like,
But you know what? That's probably why I love it. because you know how I roll. Although, lyrically, I have found my absolute new favorite song that just surmises my love for you.
Oh.
I woke you up and read it. Well, I didn't wake you up. You were going to bed. But I told you the other night, a
Oh,
giant dog photograph.
Okay.
And I'm ready to go put that record on again.
As the band is a giant dog.
Okay, yeah.
The song is Photograph. It's not a photograph of a giant dog.
No, and I can't tell you anything more than that. Because things haven't come out yet. But... good Lord, look that song up. I fucking love that song. That's how I feel about this lady right here. Okay, what else we got? I think we need to be wrapping up, but I think that we hit all the major. Future looks cool. I like
Future
future folks.
Changing drastically.
Welcome to existence.
Well, the thing is, it's like what was it? 5 years between the first two Bill and Ted movies?
Roughly. So that sounds about right.
Roughly 5 years between the two different futures, right?
Do we know that? They never specified.
Actually, they do. They do. They do.
Okay.
They actually showed it in this movie, but we both missed it because you were reaching for tissues.
I was blowing my nose a lot. I was so excited.
But the thing is, you look at what the people are wearing in the first movie, and theoretically 5 years later in the second movie, and you're sitting there going like, what? How did you get from there to there?
Because high fashion doesn't change much in 5 years. No.
There's a difference between high fashion and everyday fashion.
You really think like the leaders of the entire world?
But they were. Remember when all the people come in?
Yeah, the court of people that are expected to dress the way the leaders would expect them to, which means we still don't have a great future. But
even Rufus kind of dressed that way. And
Rufus
then when
was
you see
an offshoot, Rufus was like the punk rock version of the way everybody else dressed.
But he's dressing more or less like everybody else, just in a different color scheme.
No, but he was like looser and more like you know, I'm still going to be Rufus.
I think he had to negotiate with wardrobe.
This lady, I love him so much, but my God.
Have I also mentioned producer brain?
Wait, did I just not have a whole thing about don't expect every movie to be Citizen Kane? Let a movie be.
I just want to know, is this like, why is it so
I love you, but why is that something that bugs you about a movie?
I world building.
But it makes sense. It makes sense to me. Why is it? Okay, anyways, it doesn't really matter. You're fine. Your opinion is absolutely fucking valid. You don't even need me to tell you that.
Yeah. But anyways.
That's just a weird thing for you to get hung up on, but whatever. Again, we have it on Vudu. You can go watch it again. You want to go downstairs and watch it with the cat?
No, I'm going to go to bed after this, man. It's almost 2 o'clock.
No other movie we can't... Oh, God, it is. All right, so anything else?
I love the sound of one hand clapping.
I love Bill and Ted lived in, like, Vivarium suburbia.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Cul-de-sac, but...
Yeah, but I mean, it just reminded me of... Or how about it reminded me of the cul-de-sac in A Wrinkle in Time.
Okay, a little bit.
I love they had Death's bass back there. That was cool. Mm-hmm. I love Death. Like, no one bought this record, even though it's silver. I painted it silver myself.
That was part of the Cribs thing.
Yeah. Oh, was that part of the Cribs? Oh, okay. Sorry, that was in the movie. That was cute.
Yeah, no, but God, listening to them argue, it was just like, I was the reason why they were there!
That was awesome. That was super fun.
I was just like, I also liked it when Bill and Ted were actually, it looked like they were going to just throw in the towel. It's like, how are our fans going to take it? It's like, well, Bill and Eileen, or Will and Eileen will understand. It's like, well, what about so-and-so? It's like,
we haven't heard from her in years. That was brilliant. And that was cracking me up, but that immediately led to heartache because I really felt like, oh God, Ted's really gonna throw it in. Like, I mean, like it just, that's what I'm saying. Like the emotion really worked. It felt real. It didn't feel comic booky or cartoony. When they went for actual emotion, they landed it.
Yeah.
And then when they went for comic book and cartoony, they landed that as well. So, I guess in summation, because we're pretty much out of it.
Yeah, I think so.
In summation. Plus, oh, by the way, when the credits roll and they run into the first legitimate credit song, it's fucking Weezer, so come on, man. There's a song I remember. Yeah, I went in with huge expectations, and I was worried. It's like, oh, I hope I haven't overhyped myself. No, it still just blew my fucking stack off. And I loved it. I loved every second. And I loved it so much that, yes, I would love if they make more. But at the same time, I'm like, but it's perfect now. Like, it's kind of a perfect trilogy. Like, it kind of makes sense. If they could come up with another brilliant reason to do another one, okay, maybe. But I don't really need it because it is fucking, like, just perfect.
Yeah. Now, like I said, if they want to do a spin-off with the girls,
that's just what I was going to say next.
They can maybe have a cameo.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Billy and Thea's student thesis.
Like, Bill and Ted, actually do start, like, living in medieval England, periodically.
And, I love that concept. Yeah, you're right.
They say, you know what, our future S's had this great idea.
Right, and then one other thing we didn't talk about real quick is the therapy session, how beautiful that was. God. How it played into their proposals from Bogus Journey. They're basically saying the same thing, but it's like, yes, we love you, Joanna. How about you, Bill? Yes, we love you.
They're basically one person in two bodies.
Yeah, and then and I love the actress. I can't think of her name. I know her from Workaholics, who played the therapist. She was great in that. Her reactions to it were great.
Yeah. And then Washington shows up in her office and she's like, I'm done.
Yeah, no, all that stuff was so much fun. So for me, they everything they could fit into a movie without bloating it just for the sake of putting something in. I feel like they put it in as beautifully and brilliantly and smoothly as they can.
I do wonder if there will be like an extended cut where they're going like, here's all the other stuff we filmed that we cut, but it's still fun.
Maybe. I don't know that I need that. I would love deleted scenes at the minimum. I would love deleted scenes. And you know how I was like, I want a commentary. Sadly, when we came late to it, I missed out on the Alex Winter watch party on Twitter.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to give you poop. By the way, I love her shirt. All right, so I think that's it. Let us know, what did you all think about this? Are you anywhere near as excited for it as I am? I know some of our people are. Some of our friends are. Jeremy Ashby, my favorite chef in all of Kentucky, he's like, this movie made my week. It's his birthday week. He has a couple of daughters. They're all like skiing and shit. And I'm like, goddamn, all right. So I'm like, I can see how it would hit him the way it hit him. A lot of other people I love. I'm excited to go see other reviews, but yeah. In a week that had, I'm not going to specifically say it because I don't want to bum anybody out, but had a very harsh cinematic tragedy. This is kind of the antidote to that. Like, this got me good. So, all right, what did y'all think? Did you love it? What's your favorite part? Do you want a sequel? Are you satisfied? Do you have problems with it? Is it all good? Are you a Mary? Are you an Eric? Are you a Bill? Are you a Ted? Let us know. Geek out in the comments.
I think I'm glad I'm Bill because I think he's the smarter of the two.
What? Yeah. What? All right. Whoa. All right, so let us know. Click the thumbs up button. Give us that good old thumb of encouragement, as we do love to be encouraged if you want to. Check out the Patreon. We do movie reviews, things like that. Video game Let's Plays, $1 a month. If you want, help us out. Pay for this car we live in now. So the battery died. There's 18 minutes left on the card. What do you want to talk about for 18 minutes?
I want you to wrap this thing up.
So let us know. Click the thumbs. Check out the Patreon. $1 a month. No worries. Video games, movies, reviews, support the car and the house. The Eric Butts are links in the description below. And literally I had to put a fresh battery in to just do this little bit and say, now we're going to get out of here. So we want to remind you, just, be excellent to each other.
And party on.
Dudes.